Next game we're covering here, Missouri's taking on South Carolina. Does Missouri have an answer for the South Carolina defense? Lenore Sellers has been trending upwards. What does that mean for South Carolina? A lot of great headlines. When you think about this game taking place in Columbia, South Carolina's won 3 straight. What's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I think it is, how does Missouri attack the South Carolina defense? Do they have it in them to do it? We saw Missouri, let's say that in this game, Drew Pine plays instead of Brady Cook. We saw the way that looked against Alabama. I would say that South Carolina's defense in this type of scenario would play better than Alabama's against a quarterback like Drew Pine. He played okay last week against Oklahoma, enough to win them the game.
Yep.
If Brady Cook plays, it could be something different, but it's still a Missouri team that's susceptible to pressure, that if you put pressure on that team, both of those quarterbacks could falter. South Carolina's crushing it right now between the two guys that we talk about way too often, Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart.
Absolutely. South Carolina is definitely crushing it right now. And you were talking about the quarterback play between Missouri and South Carolina. And I have to put a spotlight on Lenore Sellers. Starting the season off, he had about 4 interceptions in the first 6 games. Last 4 games, he's had at least 1 touchdown thrown in the air with 3 2-touchdown games. He's really turned it around for this team and helping lead the way on that 3 straight wins for them. So in addition to the super strong defense that is now finally being paired by this offense and Lenore Sellers at quarterback, it really makes it for a tough day for a lot of opponents in the SEC. I would say South Carolina plays some of the most bruising football in the conference, and that's what makes them one of the toughest teams to play.
Yeah, we saw them tough to tackle, tough to bring down, tough to stop with the dual threat running attack. Really, Lenore Sellers passing well too. They're actually from a play calling standpoint, pass heavy over running. It's just the running. You see him scramble, you see him take off. That's some of the things that work for them. I think that they'll keep it on the ground a little bit in this, because we know that if Missouri does connect in the air, they have the potential to break out a big play. They have the weapons to do so. South Carolina probably wants to keep it on the ground, slow it down. Depending on what happens on Tuesday, this could be a ranked game in the CFP rankings. So there's some pressure here. Both teams are looking at low odds to making the playoffs, but there's still a path for them to be considered. And having a reporter there at the facility on selection day.
It's interesting for South Carolina because there's some common opponents between these two teams, right? South Carolina played Alabama, Missouri played Alabama, South Carolina played them a lot closer. I think that South Carolina has the edge in this game. I don't know if they have it at 11.5 points, but listen, everybody who watched the South Carolina preview last week against Vanderbilt, I'm going to pick South Carolina in this one. Don't you worry. I got them winning 31-24. I think this Missouri offense does find a way to score, but I think South Carolina takes the edge here.
Okay, interesting. Okay, see, I like South Carolina as well. I think that they do it by a little bit more. For those betting out there, South Carolina 7-2 against the spread this season, so they've done well at covering the spread in big games. South Carolina excels in pressure. Alabama did it against this Missouri team, forced a blowout. South Carolina, I think that they win at home kind of easy, 33-13. Okay. If you're Missouri, you need to force South Carolina to be a passing team, and then you might slow them down offensively. But I think the defense from South Carolina is too much.
Yeah, I'm right there with you there. So I do think they win. Different scores for us, but should be a win for South Carolina.